Alrighty, so last thing we're going to talk about before the test on Tuesday when I next see you guys, whenever I see you guys next. Um, it's not really new, it's just more difficult curve fitting. We'll call it advanced. So let's say given an exponential function, f of x, say f of 4 is equal to 10, and f of 8 is equal to 17. Find f of 20. Okay, so essentially you're just being given 2 points, asked to find an equation, and then asked to find a third point. So f of 4 equals 10 is the same thing as the point 410. And f of 8 equals 17 is the same thing as the point 817. So we still have our 2 equations that we can write based off of that information. Okay, 10 equals a times b to the 4th, and 17 equals a times b to the 8th. Okay, so we're going to solve it just like we normally would. We're going to get a on a side by itself. So let's divide both sides here by b to the 4th. Those cancel out. So I have a equals 10 divided by b to the 4th. Okay, so now we're going to plug that in for other value a into the other equation. So 17 now equals 10 divided by b to the 4th times b to the 8th. So remember, simplifying b to the 8th divided by b to the 4th, we subtract our exponents. So that simplifies to b to the 4th. So now we're trying to solve for b. Divide both sides by 10. So we get 17 over 10 equals b to the 4th. And we take the 4th root of both sides. Okay, so now this is where it's going to differ from what we've done in the past because this is not going to equal anything nice. All right, so 4th root of 17 divided by 10. Okay, we'll just cut it off at 3 decimal places. So B is 1.142. Okay, so now, just like we did before, we're going to take that value and plug it in for B back here. So A is going to equal 10 divided by 1.142 raised to the 4th power, giving us a value of 5.879. So now we can write our equation. Y equals 5.879 times 1.142 raised to the x. Okay, we could have written it as f of x, because now if we want to find f of 20, we're plugging in 20 for x. Okay, and we get a value of about 83.681. So a very similar process. Okay, just the numbers don't work out that nice. Okay, and then all you're being asked to do is, now that you have your equation, plug in a new value for x and solve. Okay, I'll do another one for you before I have you try some on your own. So given f of 5 equals 8, f of 8 equals 15, find f of 14. So again, we have 5, 8, and 8, 15 is our points. And then our two equations off of that. 8 equals a times b to the 5th. 15 equals a times b to the 8th. Okay, solve for A. Plug it into the other equation. B to the 8th divided by B to the 5th simplifies to B cubed. Divide both sides by 8. Okay, we get a B value of about 1.233. Take that value, plug it back in for B to solve for A. Now we have our A and our B values. Write our equation, f of x equals 2.807 times 1.233 raised to the x. F of 14 is what we're asked to find, so we're plugging that in for x. We get a value of about 52.690. All right, try this one on your own. All right, so going around, okay, the biggest issue seems to be when you get to right here. Okay, and simplifying the b's. Remember, you got 8 b's on top. So what that kind of looks like is b times 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 b divided by just b, right? 8 b's on top, b times itself 8 times on top, b just by itself on the bottom, all right? So these cancel, and you're left with 7 b's, which is just b to the 7th. Okay, so just being able to simplify, okay, whatever this is, it's always going to be b, or whatever value it is, it should always be b raised to something divided by b raised to something. Okay, remember, you're just subtracting the top from the bottom. Okay, so in this case, 8 minus 1, you're left with 7. So 9 times b to the 7th. Okay, divide both sides by 9. So you get 10 ninths over here, and then you take the 7th root of both sides. It should give you a value around 1.015. Plug it back in for b over here, which I rewrote over here. So a equals 9 divided by 1.015. Should give you a value of 8.867 for A. Write my equation, and then finding f of 12 comes out to be about 10.602. All right, try these two examples on your own. Okay, exact same process. All right, so you can take a look at mine, about the board if you'd like. You seem to be on the right track. We'll start. All right, so the last thing I'd like you to do today, I want you to graph these two functions on the same axes. We'll talk about what they look like. All right, so hopefully you have some graphs that kind of look like this. Okay, so looking at them, talking about what are some things they have in common, what are things they have different. Okay, one thing they have in common is the y-intercept. Both have a y-intercept of 1. Okay, if you recall domain and range, domain would be all of your possible values going from left to right. Okay, so they both, so let's see. What do they have in common? Well, they have the same y-intercept. Both of their domains are from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, their range, which is your lowest value to your highest value, is going to be the same as well, goes from 0 to infinity. What are some things they have different? Well, the red one is decreasing as it goes to the right, okay, and the blue one would be increasing. Okay, so blue increases as it goes to the right. The maroon line decreases. Okay, and that has to do with their B values here, right?